This point, it's over. That whole Sky Barbie thing, that thing is over. Angel Reese is done in Chicago. They're going to move on. They have to. With what Courtney Vandersloot just came back and said, Courtney Vandersloot just smoked Angel Reese. And you know who else is going in on Angel Reese? You got Nightcap with Unk and Ocho, Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson going in on this Angel Reese situation. She didn't think it was going to go this way.
It's over. The Sky Barbie era, that whole charade, it's done. Angel Reese's reign in Chicago is crashing down, and the team is being forced to move on. Why? Because a legend just fired back, and her words didn't just hit, they shattered. The illusion. Courtney Vandersloot, a name whispered with reverence in WNBA circles, just scorched Angel Reese without breaking a sweat. And she's not alone. Even titans like Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson are piling on. Reese never saw this coming. When you target a legend, you absolutely cannot afford to miss. Angel Reese recently unleashed a verbal assault, not only on her own teammates but aimed directly at the legendary Courtney Vandersloot. Vandersloot, a 5-time All-Star and 2-time WNBA champion, is fiercely battling back from a devastating ACL injury at the season's start, determined to return to the court. Yet, Reese, barely a sophomore, chose this moment to launch a public attack, questioning Vandersloot's age and ability to recover. Slew is old. We need somebody young that can do this, that got some experience, but we need somebody young. She too old. I don't know if she can come back from that torn ACL. Reese declared. Vandersloot's response was a chilling counterpunch. Contrary to what people say or think, my age is not a factor. I'm coming back better than ever. This wasn't subtle. When a bona fide legend, a 2-time champ, directly addresses a rookie, it signals a storm has escalated beyond control. The Sky locker room isn't just fractured, it's openly leaking. Is Angel Reese already incinerating bridges faster than she can construct them? The truth is, this isn't Reese's first rodeo with controversy. Since stepping into the league, from LSU's internal turmoil to her WNBA debut, chaos has been her constant companion. But this time, the act is wearing thin, unraveling before our eyes. Targeting an icon like Vandersloot demands precision, a surgical strike. Reese's shot, however, landed with the impact of a wet noodle, falling flat and exposing her inexperience. Vandersloot isn't just some random role player. She's a 7-time assist champion, a WNBA titan whose resume screams louder than any social media rant. Yet, Reese carelessly tossed out public comments about Vandersloot's age, her resilience, and the team's ability to count on her return. This wasn't just shade, it was a brazen slap in the face to one of the most respected veterans in the game. Why this path? Reese has barely completed her second professional season, while Caitlin Clark, her rival and the league's undeniable draw, is already cementing her legacy as Indiana's franchise centerpiece. Reese, meanwhile, is actively turning her own locker room against her, alienating teammates, and jeopardizing any hope of unified leadership. Now, let's talk about the Sky's response because it's almost laughable. A half-game suspension? That's not discipline, that's comedic theater. The Sky management effectively announced to the world, we can't control our star, so we'll bench her for 20 minutes and pray she behaves. No one respects that, not the fans, not the players, and certainly not the media. Courtney Vandersloot's return to the conversation didn't just put Reese in her place, it served as a stark, undeniable reminder of what true professionalism looks like. A veteran who has endured brutal injuries, earned championships, and still speaks with unwavering determination stands in stark contrast to a young player whose mouth is running light years ahead of her actual development. The difference is night and day. Meanwhile, the fan bases are at war, and it's getting ugly. Reese's online supporters have been relentless, attacking Vandersloot personally, insulting her storied career, and dragging every conversation into the digital gutter. It's childish. It's nasty, and it directly reflects poorly on Reese. Like it or not, your fan base becomes an extension of your brand. Caitlin Clark's fans elevate her, Angel Reese's fans tear others down. That alone speaks volumes. Vandersloot doesn't need Twitter wars or Instagram reels to validate her worth. Her career stands as an unshakable monument. That's why her measured, powerful response landed with the force of a hammer. She didn't need to scream or rant. She simply stated the undeniable truth. She's coming back, she's far from done, and her age is a non-factor. Reese, in this comparison, appears to be the architect of her own problems, fabricating drama out of thin air. The irony here is almost unbelievable. Reese constantly speaks of wanting championship-caliber players around her, of elevating Chicago. Yet, what elite talent would willingly join a team where the supposed star forward publicly disrespects veterans and throws shade at legends? Free agents meticulously observe these dynamics. Why commit to a team where the locker room feels less like a cohesive unit and more like a never-ending reality TV spectacle? The Chicago Sky management, frankly, isn't innocent either. They've allowed this chaotic mess to fester. That flimsy half-game suspension screams weakness from the front office. Either support your player unequivocally or hold her accountable without hesitation. Attempting both makes you look utterly clueless. The front office appears spineless, the coach seems powerless, and the entire team drifts directionless. Add Reese's constant drama to this volatile mix, and you have the perfect, devastating recipe for a completely wasted season. And while we're being brutally honest, let's confront the uncomfortable truth: Angel Reese is no Caitlin Clark. Not in leadership, not in consistent production, and certainly not in how they carry themselves through adversity. Clark has already seized the mantle as the face of a franchise and a primary driver of the entire league's skyrocketing popularity. Reese, conversely, is still struggling to navigate how not to alienate her teammates before the season even reaches its climax. The constant comparison now only serves to embarrass her further, starkly highlighting her current shortcomings.
If you're gonna go at a legend, you better not miss. As we know, Angel Reese come out this week. She absolutely crushed her own teammates into the dust, and she even decided to go after a legend, the legendary Courtney Vandersloot, who of course blew out her ACL at the beginning of the season, and she is in the midst of making a comeback. And of course, Angel Reese made some comments that were none too kind to a legend. Angel Reese will be lucky if she has a third of the career.
To be clear, does Reese possess undeniable potential? Absolutely. She's a rebounding dynamo, a relentless force, and she injects raw energy into every possession. That is genuine, tangible value. But the WNBA is an unforgiving arena. If your accumulated baggage begins to outweigh your on-court production, teams will not hesitate to cut ties and move on without a backward glance. And right now, Angel Reese is treading that precarious line with dangerous proximity. Her suspension didn't just raise eyebrows, it screamed a pivotal question. Does Chicago even have a coherent strategy for managing her? A half-game benching is the kind of flimsy punishment you dole out to a high schooler, not a professional athlete in a high-stakes league. It unequivocally shows the Sky are desperately trying to walk a tightrope, keep Reese on the court because she undeniably sells tickets, yet simultaneously attempt to project an image of discipline because the locker room is visibly imploding. That isn't leadership, it's sheer, unadulterated cowardice. Courtney Vandersloot, conversely, has provided a masterclass in true leadership for over a decade. You don't accumulate 7 assist titles by sheer luck. You don't hoist WNBA championships by accident. These monumental achievements are forged through unwavering consistency, ironclad accountability, and an unshakable commitment to professionalism. When she suffered that devastating ACL injury, she didn't descend into self-pity, nor did she publicly cast blame on her teammates. Instead, she silently went to work, grinding through an arduous rehabilitation process. Now, she's unequivocally on the comeback trail, driven by an unyielding spirit. Reese could glean an invaluable education from that powerful example, if only she were willing to genuinely listen and learn. But therein lies the insurmountable problem. Reese appears utterly uninterested in listening or absorbing lessons. Her focus seems laser-sharp on meticulously controlling her own narrative, whether through provocative public comments, the vitriolic online wars waged by her fervent fanbase, or her attention-grabbing on-court antics. It consistently revolves around Angel Reese, the brand, eclipsing Angel Reese, the player. And when you're merely a sophomore in the league, still devoid of any significant playoff success, that imbalanced equation presents a decidedly poor image. Contrast this starkly with Caitlin Clark, who, despite enduring brutal fouls, relentless targeting, and a relentless barrage of criticism from opposing players, the media, and even former legendary stars, maintains a singular approach: absolute focus on her game, unwavering commitment to her team, and an unyielding forward momentum. She's not flawless, no athlete is. But Clark profoundly grasps that genuine leadership extends far beyond mere highlight reels. It's fundamentally about how you conduct yourself, with grace and resilience, when confronted by the most daunting adversity. Reese, tragically, has yet to demonstrate that profound understanding. Let's dissect Reese's utterly dismissive comment about Courtney being too old. That wasn't merely careless, it was profoundly disrespectful. Vandersloot has unequivocally demonstrated her immense value season after season, proving her enduring impact. Even at her veteran age, she brings an unparalleled wealth of experience, strategic vision, and an innate court awareness that younger, less seasoned players simply cannot replicate, regardless of their raw talent. To so flippantly dismiss her contributions is not just factually inaccurate. It is a blatant insult to the very essence of what esteemed veterans fundamentally bring to the game. Reese might genuinely believe she's being honest, but in stark reality, she is merely exposing her own profound immaturity to the entire league.
Rookie team. Angel will not have the career that Courtney Vandersloot has had. She won't. You know why? Because I don't think the league's going to tolerate her long enough. She's going to run her mouth until she just ends up jumping from team to team until she does what I think she should do right now.
Consider, for a terrifying moment, the message this sends across the WNBA. If you are a respected veteran player contemplating a lucrative move to the Chicago Sky, and you hear the team's ostensibly young star publicly disparaging and dismissing older, more experienced players, would you, in good conscience, sign that contract? The resounding answer is probably not. And this, precisely, is how team locker rooms begin to fester and rot from the inside out. True winning necessitates an unbreakable foundation of trust. If Reese persistently undermines that crucial trust, Chicago will remain perpetually starved of the truly great players she claims to desperately desire around her. Vandersloot's powerful clapback was neither loud nor overly dramatic, because it didn't need to be. It was delivered with calm, undeniable confidence, and rooted deeply in her meticulously proven, stellar track record. That, precisely, is why it landed with such devastating force. Everyone within the league unequivocally knows that Courtney has earned, through years of tireless dedication, the indisputable right to speak with such authority. Angel Reese, tragically, has not yet earned that privilege. When Courtney solemnly declares she's returning better than ever, people, without hesitation, believe her implicitly. When Reese grandly proclaims the team needs better players, people, almost universally, roll their eyes in exasperated disbelief. That is the monumental credibility gap, and Reese has an almost insurmountable journey ahead to even begin to bridge it. The overall fan reaction to this entire toxic saga speaks its own damning story. Courtney's dedicated fans revere her, they profoundly admire her illustrious career, and they genuinely wish to witness her continued success. Reese's fans, however, engage in aggressive, often personal attacks on anyone who dares to offer constructive criticism, dragging meaningful conversations into the lowest depths of online vitriol. This undeniably reflects extremely poorly on Reese, regardless of her personal desires. If you consciously choose to construct your entire brand on the treacherous foundation of conflict, you should not express an iota of surprise when your own fervent fan base mirrors that very same destructive energy. It's also imperative to note the increasingly frequent and strikingly accurate comparison of Reese to Draymond Green. And frankly, the chilling comparison fits almost perfectly. The endless parade of technical fouls, the escalating on-court confrontations, the self-inflicted suspensions, the constant, suffocating drama, it's eerily the identical playbook. But here's the colossal difference, the unbridgeable chasm. Draymond Green boasts an astounding 4 NBA championships to unequivocally back up his often controversial antics. Reese, starkly and tellingly, does not. Without a tangible, undeniable stack of wins, the constant, attention-grabbing antics simply devolve into glaring immaturity, rather than being perceived as raw, unbridled passion.
I don't know, Angel Reese. This is what Courtney Vandersloot had to say. She's firing off. Angel Reese, you got her twisted. She said, contrary to what people think, what people say or think, my age is actually not a factor. I am coming back. This is after Angel Reese said, yeah, Sloot is old. We need somebody young that can do this, that got some experience, but we need somebody young. She too old. I don't know if she can come back from that torn ACL.
Let's not lose sight of the crucial, overarching bigger picture here, the WNBA itself. The league is, at long last, experiencing an unprecedented surge in growth, finally capturing widespread mainstream attention and, crucially, drawing record-breaking crowds into its arenas. And who, definitively, stands at the epicenter of this seismic shift? Caitlin Clark. She is the undeniable magnet, the revolutionary force. Reese, undeniably, benefits immensely from this newfound, brilliant spotlight. But instead of judiciously leveraging it in a positive, unifying manner, she is tragically misusing it to generate sensational headlines for all the most detrimental and wrong reasons. The league, in its nascent, fragile growth, does not need more volatile distractions. It desperately yearns for stability, for unifying leadership, for positive narratives that uplift, not tear down. Courtney's deliberate decision to respond publicly to Reese's unwarranted attack was meticulously calculated. She felt no inherent need to defend her impeccable character or her Hall of Fame-bound career, yet she chose to speak because she profoundly understood that silence, in such charged situations, is often maliciously twisted and misinterpreted. By speaking with such direct, unwavering clarity, she masterfully shut down all speculation and unequivocally demonstrated that she is utterly unintimidated by younger, less experienced players attempting to disrespectfully push her aside. It served as a powerful, resonant reminder that the WNBA, fundamentally, still deeply values seasoned veterans who carry themselves with an unwavering sense of class, professionalism, and integrity.
Oh, but she's on video now, and she's made a direct shot. Courtney has answered the shot from Angel Reese. And I got to be honest with you. How much, I'm going to speculate out loud. How much shit was Angel Reese talking in that Chicago Sky locker room last year around Kennedy Carter about Caitlin Clark? All right? Think about that a minute. The influence there. I got to tell you, I don't think it was Kennedy Carter that blew that locker room up. I think it was Angel Reese.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese is dangerously treading a path that risks alienating not just her current teammates and potential future teammates, but the entire league itself. If she stubbornly persists on this destructive trajectory, her nascent career could very well follow the alarmingly familiar path of other once promising players who bounced erratically from team to team, their reputation preceding them until they were unceremoniously and prematurely out of the league entirely. That is not a definitive prediction of her future, but it stands as a stark, undeniable warning. You simply cannot engage in constant, draining battles with everyone around you and realistically expect to truly thrive in a fiercely competitive professional environment. At some critical juncture, your actual basketball prowess and undeniable on-court production must, unequivocally, speak far louder and with far greater authority than any amount of manufactured drama. Now, let's revisit the omnipresent Caitlin Clark comparison one final, illuminating time. Clark is also in her second year, precisely like Reese. But the chasm in public perception and career trajectory is truly massive and continues to widen daily. Clark is universally regarded as the indisputable future of the WNBA, a generational player who possesses the rare ability to single-handedly carry an entire franchise and, vitally, draw legions of new fans into packed arenas. Reese, in stark contrast, is increasingly perceived as a polarizing, divisive figure who, despite her raw talent, primarily generates headlines for all the absolutely wrong and detrimental reasons. Both are undeniably talented athletes, but only one is meticulously positioning herself for sustainable, long-term success and enduring legendary status within the league.
Sloot wasn't going for it. And I'm going to tell you right now, Courtney Vandersloot has won a title in Chicago, and she will not be playing with Angel Reese next year. I'm going to tell you that right now. Angel Reese is good as gone. Good as gone.
And that, fundamentally, is precisely why this entire, sprawling saga matters so deeply and resonates so widely. It transcends being merely about a single, inadequate suspension or a single, ill-conceived comment. It is, at its very core, about the deeply entrenched culture of an entire team, the precarious, uncertain direction of a struggling franchise, and the profoundly uncertain future of a young player who stands precariously on the precipice of either becoming a cornerstone legend or, tragically, just another cautionary tale. Courtney Vandersloot didn't just subtly put Angel Reese in her rightful, subordinate place. She, with quiet authority, reminded everyone within the WNBA and beyond that true respect must be painstakingly earned through years of dedication and professionalism, never simply demanded through arrogance and manufactured drama. Courtney Vandersloot, the legend, fired back with surgical precision, and her message resonated with crystal-clear clarity. True legends do not passively endure cheap shots. Angel Reese might have naively believed she was boldly speaking her own truth, but in reality, she merely exposed the raw, glaring immaturity that still defines her at this critical stage of her career. The stage is now set. Do you believe Reese possesses the mental fortitude and humility to rebound from this monumental mess, or is she, irrevocably, spiraling out of control, destined for a career defined by drama rather than dominance? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unfiltered breakdowns of the WNBA's most explosive stories.